Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the Institute for Leadership and Actions Planning the Journey Goal Setting Workshop. We got a lot of good stuff in store for you tonight. We've been looking forward to this workshop for some time now, and we hope that you enjoy it just as much as we enjoy putting it together. And we're in for a good hour. Just take a second to introduce ourselves. My name is Rob DeMarco. I'm a senior here at Rutgers Camden. My major is social work and my minor is criminal justice.
My name is Aaliyah and I am a third-year student here at Rutgers Camden, majoring in psychology and social work. And I'm not sure if our other moderator, Sabrina, was able to make it in. She was coming in from California, so she may be in a little later, but Sabrina is also another moderator of this presentation, and she is a history and political science major at Rutgers Camden.
And my name is Shanila. I'm a junior at Rutgers Camden, and I'm an urban studies major.
All right, so here's what we're going to be doing tonight. We're going to talk about SMART goals. SMART is a framework that you can use to pretty much do anything. Like, it's awesome. You can apply it to pretty much anything, and we're going to discuss how you would do that with any goal, whether it's academic, real life, personal. We're also going to talk for a minute about how you can apply it to leadership, because we all find ourselves in leadership positions. Sometimes they just fall to us, or sometimes we pursue them, but lots of times you maybe have to take the lead on a big project, or you may find yourself running a workplace. SMART is an excellent framework of getting the most out of your team, getting the most out of the project, and making it flow so much easier. So we'll talk about that. And then we're also going to practice using the SMART framework. All you guys are going to have an opportunity to apply it and as like a way of getting used to using it. So I get it. But first, we're going to talk about goals. Now, we want you to start thinking about some goals that you may have. They could be anything: personal, academic, professional. Now, don't necessarily think too much about how you would do it. Just think about what they might be. You may want to write them down, or even put them in like a Google Doc for later. But we're asking you to put them in a tangible form so that you have them and that you can come back to them, because we're going to be coming back to them for the activity. In the meantime, we're going to talk about, myself and the other facilitators are going to talk about some of our own goals, just to break the ice and kind of give you time to think about what you guys want to do. Mine's going to be, I'm going to go with what we're all here for, academics. We want to, my goal is to get my bachelor's degree. Now, the only caveat with me is I'm in a halfway house. So I have to do all this stuff with limited computer access, a lot going on, a lot of distraction and everything. So how would I do that? And we're going to apply that example with SMART. How about you, Aaliyah?
So a big goal for me lately has been more of a personal goal, and that's just improving my mental health. A lot of that challenges comes from a lack of motivation with the pandemic, not being able to have the same resources that I did have before. So understanding how what mental health specifically means to me and how I want to improve that is a big personal goal that I have for myself. And I'm going to pass it on to Shanila to speak on a goal that she may have.
So a goal that I have is I want to be able to squat my own body weight. So yeah.
Hey, awesome. So how about you guys? Would anyone else like to share their goals?
Yes, I would like to share my goal.
Hi, Trish.
Hi, everyone. So my goal right now, going through this pandemic and having to finish school remotely, is to be able to graduate May 2021, and God willing, to be able to go to the MSW program that was offered by Dr. Plummer for 2 semesters, which would be 1 year. And that is my goal right now moving forward. and to get through this semester, actually.
Very good, very good. Who else? Anybody?
So I think my goals are, I would say, pretty basic. I would just like to finish college, especially this semester with the situation we're in, and eventually move out and just get a medium-sized house and a family. That's about it. I don't have anything extravagant in mind.
I think a goal that I've been like working for a while is getting more sleep. I feel like I do not get enough sleep. And I track my sleep. Like I've been trying to go to bed earlier and everything, but it's been like a slow process of me trying to I would like to reach like 8 hours a night. That would be nice. So that's my goal, 8 hours of sleep every night.
Any other brave souls?
I want to learn to play the drums.
Awesome. Anybody else?
I'll say stuff. Most of my goals, I guess, are kind of short term because I know they're achievable and are kind of quick. So like just like the little things like what Natalie said, getting enough sleep, or like, just remembering to drink water because, hydrate or dihydrate. Just the little things that people tend to forget, I try to focus on, considering that there's not much for me to do other than schoolwork here.
Perfect. We also had another one in the chat, said goals to definitely improve mental health, finish this semester, find better balance between school and work. And I think that's all pretty much a spot that we're all in right now, because it's been a really stressful, surreal time. That's beating a dead horse, but like it's real. We all have, we feel the weight, we feel the pressure. So we just want to ask you guys to just keep these goals in mind, maybe write them down, maybe put them in a Google Doc, because we want to come back to them later after we break down the whole SMART goal framework and then help you guys use them. You guys can practice using the framework to reframe it and figure out, okay, just how would I accomplish this? All right, the SMART framework. SMART is an acronym, stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. If you want to make your goals specific, you want them to have defined, boundaries, just so that you can define them. You can break them down into objectives. You just want them to be something concrete that's understandable. You also want them to be measurable. You want it to have a definitive time when it's completed and you can move on to the next. You also want to make sure that they're achievable. You want to make sure that you can do them. Maybe you need additional support or training. Maybe it's just too much, or maybe the other way around. Don't sell yourself short either. You might be able to accomplish more, but you also want to make sure they're relevant. You want to make sure that they're in line with your long-term objectives. Maybe if it's even just a class, towards your long-term objective of a degree. You also want to make sure that it is, relevant to what's going on in the world as well. That's not to be confused with timely, because you just want to make sure that everything has a specific time frame. You don't want to start goals too soon, too late, or begin them too soon ahead of time for that matter. You just want to make sure that they flow right into the time frame that is natural that we will learn. And we're going to go into each of these steps in detail. In fact, Aaliyah, if you would like to take it away and bring us into the SMART.
So as Rob mentioned, the first part is SMART goals, or S, stands for specific. So when we mentioned goals, and even several of you mentioned goals, very big goals such as, finishing college, or having a family and getting a career jobs. These are very big goals, and sometimes the weight of that can be very overwhelming. So it's important to specify what our goals are. So you could take it into an example of a major assignment. I'm sure we've all had a paper or project to do with extensive amount of pages. So a way to break that down is to, or you may see how your teachers have broke down a research paper per se. The first part of that paper is gathering resources and doing the bibliography, I believe it is. So with your goal, you want to make steps on how you're going to achieve that specific goals. And then in regards to actions, so you're going to want to see how you can, what support and resources you need for those specific steps. So kind of back to the research paper, for research, you obviously need resources, literature. So maybe finding library or proper library to use, or different websites that have academic journals on it would be a way to see where specifically, sorry, see how you can specifically achieve that step. So the next letter of the acronym is M, which stands for measurable. And so basically measuring your goals, and that's kind of looking at it in a large aspect. How much is this specific goal going to take you? Is it going to take you a lot? Is it going to take you a little? So big example, easy example I can think of is eating. You know, sometimes that could be a very simple task. You only need 2 seconds to kind of go whip up some food or something like that. But in terms of a paper, that could be a big goal. So determining where along the scale of what your goal entails, and defining your goal, measuring your goal can keep your goals on track and allow you to look back and reflect on this. And that also encourages each step is completed. I think with big goals, it's very easy to get consumed in wanting to achieve the goal. And sometimes we miss the little steps and the details that are very important to achieving our goals. So the next letter here is A, which stands for achievable. And with this letter, or with this word, achievable, is making sure that our goals are achievable to us within where we're at currently. So not exactly sure of a specific example I could use, excuse me, but making sure that our goals aren't too broad. And this kind of goes back to making sure our goals are specific. We may want an X amount of income, but we have to kind of lower that down and see how we can slowly build our way to that. So making sure our goals are achievable and with the resources we have and the current positionality of where we're at in life. And then the next letter we have is R, which stands for relevant. So making sure our goals are pertaining to our specific purpose within life or within that specific realm. So having a goal, making sure the small steps within our goals help us to overall achieve the main goal, the major goal that we have here. Asking yourself some of these questions that we have here on the slide, such as, is this goal objective, worthwhile? Is it going to help you grow? Is it going to help you pursue your purpose? Is the goal that you're trying to reach in that particular moment, is it specific to the overall goal that you're trying to achieve? And then also, is this objective a priority? So is this something that you need to be completing now? Is this something that you can complete later? So asking yourself these questions can help you identify what steps you may need to take next. And then we have, for our last letter of the acronym, timely, determining how much time one of our goals can take, or our overall goal can take. So again, kind of going back into this idea of a big paper, how much time is it going to take you to collect the materials, begin the rough draft, get feedback, final draft? Some of these tasks can take longer, such as getting feedback. You have to take other people's time in consideration. So maybe that's a goal that you want to start a little bit earlier and make other people aware of. So.
Well, we've used the goal of a major assignment just as an example. I'm just going to break it down with the example I used, and then we'll talk about some other ones. I want you guys in the audience to go back and just think about your goals that you set again, start beginning to think about that while we discuss how we would do it. So for me, I'm in a halfway house, and let's say I'm in class and I get one of these 8 to 10 page research papers that Rutgers is so keen on giving everyone. okay, now I only have so much computer time in a week. It wouldn't be a good idea for me to just kind of sit down and start writing. But what I can do is maybe I have an idea of what I want to write already, and even if I don't, that's okay. I just want to find resources that are related to that topic. So what I'll do is I'll go on the Rutgers Library System has a great database called Social Science Premium Collection, ProQuest, and they have so many articles. I can decide if they're, I can make sure they're peer reviewed. I can make sure that they're within the last 10 years or so. I want to find the articles that I can use for this paper. Then I can print them out. Now, on times like the weekend when I don't have access, I'll take these articles, and that's when I'll do my reading. I'll get my highlighter. I'll go through everything. I'll start picking out information, data that I can use, because that's something that I can accomplish. It's a specific goal. It's achievable in my time period. It's measurable because I can tell when it's done, relevant to the paper, and I'm doing it at a time that I do have. That way, I'm always able to do something. So then, once I feel I have enough raw data together, I want to start think about what the data is telling me. So I will start writing a rough draft. Usually I'll do it on paper. There's tons of different ways to do this. This is just a great example because we all have stuff going on. We all have papers that we do. So, but for me, what works best is just I do a paper and pen thing. I write out my rough draft, and then Monday comes, I go back in the lab, I type it up in Word, get the rough draft typed up, and that's when I can go in and I can do my old APA formatting, make sure everything's cited perfectly, periods are where they're supposed to be, do my reference page, abstract, title page, all that. That's how I would break up my assignment, because just like in here, just like all the rest of you guys, it's it's hard to find the time or for me to get the access to get these things done. So it wouldn't really make sense for me to just sit down and just try to start typing until I actually, it's either just break it down to specific steps, read through the assignment, write out the rough draft, then type it up. Instead of sit down and type it up before I have anything else. So Leah, how would you use your example? How would you use SMART with your example?
So, like I said, oops, sorry.
No, it's all
Like I said, my goal is to improve my mental health, and mental health can be considered a lot of different things. So I learned to break that down or specify them more into improve my levels of happiness, which is made easier because I actually have a project in which we're supposed to modify behavior, but nonetheless, so identifying what the specific goal I'm trying to achieve is, again, improving my levels of happiness. So identifying some ways in which make me happy, some examples that make me happy: listening to music, um, taking a nap, something I don't get to do that often, spending time with my mom or other family. So this is something, identifying where and looking back and evaluating what makes me happy, and then the next part of that would be breaking it down. So identifying when I think I may most be happiness, kind of maybe do a compare and contrasting chart. More specifically for my project, I actually did that. Identify what more specifically improved my happiness, or when I found myself to be more happy. So looking back at that. And the last part about that is finding ways in which I can incorporate that specific thing into my life. So for my example, journaling was something that I decided to take up and realized that it actually made me very happy. So again, writing it out and identifying when in my schedule I can more specifically journal. So, and then I'm going to pass it over to Shanila for her example. You're on mute, Shanila.
Thank you. um, so for my goal, I wanted to squat my body weight. So similar to how like Aaliyah started off, you want to make it more specific. So first I would get on the scale and like actually see how much I weigh. And I think something else that I want to do too is to just like document my kind of like fitness journey. I want to take a picture on the first day that I start and just continue to take pictures like weekly. And then to make it measurable, I think something that makes it measurable is actually taking those pictures to see like visually how I'm transforming. Um, and then to measure, like, I feel like taking the picture kind of like does a lot of different steps. Because like making it achievable, I can like, yeah, those pictures just like kind of motivate me to continue to keep on going once I see those changes. And then I can make it relevant to like my purpose overall, which is like losing that weight. And then timely. Um, um, sorry. To just track it timely, I can kind of like make a schedule of what I want to be squatting like when. So maybe like for the first month, I want to be squatting like 25% of my body weight, and maybe I want to slightly increase like 25% every month. So then by month 4, I'm squatting my full body weight. And I think a big part that I wanted to mention too, I think that's within the I think this is within the measurable part of the SMART goals is reevaluating. I think that's a really big part of any goal, because if you don't like reevaluate within your goal, you keep on failing. That kind of stops motivating you to do it. So to do that, if something isn't working, or if I'm not upgrading my weight that I'm squatting, I would kind of look at that and see like why I'm not doing that, and readjust and kind of reevaluate and reset my goal from there.
All right, we want to get you guys engaged with using the SMART framework for some of your own goals. But before we do that, is there any questions? All right, real quick, I want you to think about the goals that you had said in the beginning. We're going to talk about leadership because for the activity, maybe you guys can think about how you would use it for your own personal, but then also use it if you were in a leadership position. The great thing about the SMART framework is if you're a leadership, you can prioritize the tasks of the team around you. You want to get the most out of the team. So if you can break everything into specific objectives, and if you're going to know your people's strengths, and you can assign tasks to people who you know are going to be best at getting them done. The team's also going to get the most out of it, because when you use something like the measurable, when you see specific objectives being completed, it's going to motivate you. You're going to want to move on to the next step. You're going to become inspired. You're going to get more things. You're going to get more out of your team if people can see progress being made, if you can track the progress. Also, when you use SMART, you can find spots where some things there might need some additional support. So leadership is the SMART framework is the best tool for a leader to use if you want to just get the most out of your team. Sorry. All right, so now go back to those goals that you guys came up with. Hopefully you wrote them down now. Think about how you would reframe them using the SMART framework. How would you make them specific? How could you break them into specific, defined objectives? How could you make these objectives measurable so you could track the progress? How can you make sure that they're in the realm of the achievable? Make sure that these are things that you can do. How are you going to make sure that they're relevant to the long-term goal? and how would you create a time frame for getting them done? So, next slide. So I want you to take these goals. You can put them in a Google Doc, or maybe if you would like to share them, or just write on a piece of paper and maybe discuss them. It could be any goal, it could be anything, it could be personal, it could be from career, it could be school related. Just use a smart framework to reframe them. We're going to give you a few minutes, like maybe 10 minutes. Shanila or Leah, do you think you put some music on maybe? I do, I'm working from some tablet here. Think 10 minutes will work? Give everyone time to reframe everything? No. How about we make it 5 minutes? Come back at 38, 5:38.
I keep on trying to say something, but I'm on mute. I was gonna ask, do you want me to put on a quick song?
Yes, please.
All right.
Lofty hip hop beats always works well.
Oh yeah. I'll just put that on. Or if you want, Leah, you can put it on since you said it and you're already sharing your screen.
Okay. Technical difficulties.
give everybody about another minute or so. All right, is everybody ready? So who would like to go first?
So for my personal goals, I wrote to be more active, and in that, I guess the smart would apply is just specifically not even just like exercise active, but just to get up from school. Measurable, I can have a type of schedule, and I know it's definitely achievable and it's relevant, I think, to everyone in this day and age of just being able to work from home. So yeah, it's one of my goals.
Anybody else? I'm really interested in hearing about about learning how to play the drums. How you would apply somewhat to that.
Well, I kind of just focus on like the pathway to do it. I live with my parents, so I can't have a drum set. So I said my first goal would be to move out, and then I would have to buy a drum set. And then I guess the way that I would learn it would be through YouTube tutorials. I'm already a musician, so it would kind of just be like an adding on to my musical or to like my instruments that I already know. And that would be the way that I would learn to play. It's not really relevant because it's not like a priority for me. It's kind of just like a skill that I would like to learn in my lifetime. And it's something that interests me.
Well, that right there, you said if it's important to you, it is relevant. So maybe you could even make it like specific. One would be specific step, and measurable step would be to move out. Another would be to purchase a drum kit if you don't have it. Third would be to watch the YouTube tutorials. So on. All right, who's next?
Laurel, if I can jump in, I think that's an awesome goal. As somebody who's like desperate to teach his daughter how to play the drums. And like, I would think about that, like in terms of specific, what type of drums do you want to play? Are you looking to play a 5-piece kit? Are you looking to pick up a bongo, right? And you know, how would you measure your success as a drummer? Are you just looking to play in 4/4 time? Or you know, do you want to be able to reproduce like Van Halen's Eruption or something like that, right? Achievable. You're not shooting for Geddy Lee status right at the beginning, but or Neil Peart, not Geddy Lee. Sorry, but you know, you're looking to play something that's ownable and not like at the cutting edge of drum work, right? It is relevant because it matters to you and you're already a musician, right? And you want to expand your skill set. And time bound, well, when do you want to be able to do it by, right? So you could say something like, I want to learn how to play this song, and I'm not going to show everybody how dated I am by picking a particular song. I want to grab a 5-piece drum kit and learn how to play this song by this band because it's my favorite song by the end of January, right? And see, all of a sudden it becomes a SMART goal.
How about you, Natalie? I know you said that you want to get more sleep. How would you break that into SMART?
Yeah, so to make it more specific, like instead of just saying like get more sleep, I wrote get 8 hours of sleep each night. And to measure it, my Fitbit like tracks my sleep like for me. And it's like actually like really interesting because like let's say I went to bed at 10, that would be like a shock. Let's say I went to bed at 10 and I got up at 7. I would think that is, however, that would be like 9 hours of sleep. Okay, let's say I went to bed at 10 and got up at 6 to keep it with like the 8 hours. That like you're not actually like sleeping that whole time. Like I average a night, there's like 55 minutes that I'm like awake that it can like pick up. Like if you're like tossing, turning, that I don't even like remember. So even if I was in bed for all that time, that would only be like 6 hours and 45 minutes of like actual sleep. So I can like, it's very specific and it's very like, this is actually how long you were sleeping for. So I can use that as a tool to measure how long I'm like catching my Z's. I do think it's achievable. There's really no reason that like I shouldn't be able to achieve that. I just have to like change some things in my routine. I would say to be able to achieve it. Yes, it's definitely relevant. Sleep is everything. And to kind of make like a schedule for it, maybe I could like try to go to bed, like even if it's like 15 minutes earlier, like every month, eventually, maybe I would be at that 8 hours. So that's how I like thought about it.
Awesome. Anybody else? Well, if nobody else wants to add anything, I guess, Shania, can you take us home?
So to summarize the goal process, so you want to identify the goal. A good way is to discuss it with your friends or others. You want to connect, and then you want to practice. And I'll even add another one onto that is to reevaluate. So now, since we're more towards the end of the presentation, does anyone have any other questions? All right, I guess not. Oh, I think you skipped a slide. Was there? Oh, okay. All right, so here are just some campus resources to help you actually achieve your goals. So we have the school library, the Dean of Students Office, Academic Services Center, Student Success Coach Office, the Learning Center, which houses a time management coach, which I use a lot, so I would really recommend that. Our department, the Institute for Leadership in Action, the One Stop Student Services Center, which has financial aid and other services, also disability services where you can get accommodations for academic type related stuff if you need that. And then the Student Wellness Center for mental health involved stuff. And Rob wanted to add something?
Yeah, I just wanted to take a second to jump in about, setting the goals is one thing, but making sure that you have everything you need. You wouldn't want to go into the woods, for a camping trip without your tent, without your sleeping bag, without your fishing pole, whatever. But the main thing, I wanted to speak also about like the digital divide too. Like, that's real. So if you say you have like academic ambitions, but you have trouble getting Wi-Fi or technology, the dean of students can help. You also want to take care of your mental health. Make sure that your head's in the right place. So if you need to reach out to someone like in the Student Wellness Center, by all means do so. Also, maybe you need some tutoring, in terms like that falls in under the A for achievable. Sometimes it's not, maybe not that you can't do it, it's just you need a little bit of extra support. So, don't be afraid to reach out for tutoring as well. And, it's just, you gotta make sure you pack everything in the bag before you really set off on the journey. That was just something I wanted to emphasize.
And then just to have everyone looking forward to some stuff, we have some more events coming up. So November 3rd, November 4th, we have Ask a Student from Struggle to Success, which is going to be a student panel. Be Your Own Boss, which focuses on personal management and time management organization. And then we have another workshop coming up around stress management, self-care, mental health. And I think that's everything. And then references that we use throughout the slide, and using the SMART framework because it is like peer reviewed, so it's been like tested and tried many different times. Like if you go on, even if you go on like Google and just type in SMART framework, you can find like diagrams maybe just to like utilize if you want to make up your own goals or use this at a later time, which I would recommend definitely.
So, going to the campus resources up, and you guys are welcome to stay and ask any questions you have, or even if we can help into how you can work your specific goal into the SMART framework. Oh, and thank you for everyone for coming.
Hey, Leah.
Your time out.
Aaliyah, do you have the link to that PDF, the resource?